Are you considering buying a home for the first time ever? Well, you're in the right place because today I'm going to be giving you the most important tips you need to know. Hi. If this is your first time visiting my channel, my name is Emily Ingle. I'm a realtor in Jacksonville Beach, Florida, and today I'm going to be telling you everything you need to know about buying your very first home ever. If you're not in Jacksonville, that's okay. These tips can help pretty much anyone buying their first home in the United States. If you're not in the United States, this might not be the video for you, but if you are, you're in the right place. I've broken the home buying process up into 10 simple steps, and today we're going to be covering the first 3. That's so this process doesn't seem too overwhelming if I try to cover it all at once, and let's face it, you wouldn't want to watch a 30-minute long video anyways. If you don't want to wait until next week for me to release the next 3 steps in the home buying process, maybe you're ready to buy right now and you need to know what to do, don't worry. Down below, you can click to download my home buyer guide that I created for free, and it'll be sent right away to your email address. So let's get started. Tip number 1, financial readiness. When first-time home buyers come to me, a lot of times the first thing they bring up when we talk about finances is their credit. I have good credit. I'm working on my credit. What does my credit need to be at? Well, here's what you need to know. As a general rule, I recommend that your credit score be a 640 or above. This is going to give you the best chances for being eligible for several different kinds of loans. That way you'll have your pick and what's going to be the best for you. And it's going to make you eligible for most government programs as far as getting first-time home buyer down payment assistance, which is huge. A lot of times the cutoff score for that is 640, so that's always a great place to start. Now, the higher your credit score, typically that means the better of a lender you are. So if you have a really high credit score, you're probably going to get a better interest rate, which means you're going to pay the bank less money to borrow their money to buy your house. So, credit score. I recommend a minimum of 640, the higher the better. This doesn't mean that you can't buy a home with a credit score lower than 640, but a lot of times you're going to have a higher interest rate, which will result in a higher payment. So, gotta weigh the options. A second largely important factor in financial readiness that a lender is going to look at is your employment situation. Do you have a stable job? Have you been there for an extended period of time? If you're self-employed, how long have you been able to pay yourself? Have you paid yourself consistently? The lender needs to be confident that you are going to have a consistent, stable income to pay back that job. So you need to make sure you've got a good bit of job history with a stable income. The third factor of financial readiness is going to be cash reserves. Do you have money set aside to guide you along the home buying process? Can you pay for your down payment and your closing costs? Now I know you're probably saying, but there are programs that can pay your down payment. Sometimes the seller pays your closing costs, and that's totally right, but what if you're not eligible? What if the seller disagrees? It's your dream home. You have to have this home, but the seller refuses to pay your closing costs. Those items are negotiable, so there's no guarantees. So I always recommend having at least 3.5% set aside in cash for your down payment, and then another 3 to 4%, when I say percent, I'm talking about of the purchase price, set aside for your closing costs. Again, the seller can sometimes pay your closing costs, but better safe than sorry. You're also going to have a couple unforeseen, well, they are foreseen, but expenses you need to be prepared for, like your inspection. It's normally around $400 to $500. In several states, like in Florida, the buyer pays for the appraisal. That's another $400 to $500. So these are things that you just want to be prepared for. Tip number 2, find a great realtor. I know, you're thinking, of course she would say that. But seriously, it's really important, and here are some things you might not have known about hiring a realtor to help you buy your first home. So, I say hiring a realtor, but actually this is oftentimes at no cost to you. I'm not going to say always, because some brokerages charge their customers a transaction fee. It's normally anywhere from $300 to $500. However, I do not do that, and there are a lot of agents that don't do that. So there are plenty of amazing agents that will work for you completely for free. Now, that may be sounding a little too good to be true. So let me tell you really quickly that we do get paid. It's just by the seller. The seller pays a total commission, and that is split between their agent and the buyer's agent. Also, this is probably the largest purchase you're ever going to have made in your life, possibly one of the largest purchases you ever will make in your life. So if you think about it that way, don't you want a professional helping you, guiding you along the way, making sure that you're not going to agree to any terms or do something that you're maybe one day gonna regret? You wish you hadn't done it that way. You wish you hadn't bought that house. You wish you would have known where the neighborhood was going, things like that. You just really want a professional to guide you throughout the process. And tip number 3 for getting started on buying your first home ever is to get pre-approved. Okay, getting pre-approved is not the same thing as getting pre-qualified. You can go on Zillow or pretty much any home buying website, and it will ask you if you want to get pre-qualified. You put in how much you make a year, maybe some of your big payments that you pay every month, and they're going to say, okay, based on that, you can afford this much. Guys, so often that is so inaccurate. You need to connect with a reputable lender to get you pre-approved. If you have a bank that you use, for your personal banking, you know the people, you know their reputation, I recommend going in and talking to them, seeing what kind of home loans they offer. If you don't, or maybe you don't necessarily think that they offer great loan packages, or maybe you just don't know, another great resource to find an amazing lender who's going to take awesome care of you is to ask that realtor you hired back in step 2. As a professional real estate agent, I work with some amazing lenders. I also know who not to work with. So anytime a home buyer comes to me and says, I want to buy a house, I say, are you pre-approved? If they're not, I send them my 3 preferred lenders. They can choose who they reach out to. I recommend trying to reach out to all of them because each company offers different packages. Also, some people you just vibe with better than others. And then we go from there. And they can move forward with confidence knowing that this person has their best interest in mind. Some things you need to know about getting pre-approved. Yes, they are going to run your credit, but that's okay. Most of the time when a lender runs your credit to get pre-approved for a home, it might go down just a couple points, but within 30 days, those points are going to go right back onto your credit score. Now, we talked a little bit about getting pre-qualified, and a lot of the reason that is so inaccurate is because they have very little valid information. Getting pre-approved, you are going to have to submit, I don't want to say a lot because it's really not a lot compared to the rest of the process, but there are some important documents that you are going to need to be prepared to submit. And those are 30 days of your recent pay stubs, 2 years of previous W-2s or 1099s, 2 years of your previous tax returns, 2 months of bank account statements, your previous statements you can give to the lender, and copies of your IDs, you and whoever is going to be on the loan. Of course, you'll need to be able to provide them with your social security number and things like that, but those are the primary documents you will need to have prepared to get pre-approved. If you don't have them all, a lot of times they can still give you a general number, but it's going to be a conditional pre-approval, with the condition being that you provide them with your pay stubs and they have to verify your income or things of that nature. Now, why is it so important to get pre-approved? What's the big deal? I know what my monthly payment I can afford, and I typed that into the little Google mortgage calculator, and it told me how much I could afford as far as purchase price. Well, the reason that you need to get pre-approved by a lender is the obvious. That's not always accurate, right? And you don't want to be looking at $300,000 houses fall on one that you love and find out really you can only get a loan for a $250,000 house, or vice versa? What if you think you can afford way less than you actually can? I mean, it doesn't take a lot of time to get pre-approved, and it's definitely worth knowing. Another reason that you need to get pre-approved is because most sellers require it. That's right. They are not going to take their home off the market for you when you put in an offer if you cannot prove to them that you actually can afford the home. And I don't know what it's like wherever you live, what the market's like, but I do know what the market is like here in Jacksonville. And we have a severe inventory shortage. That means when great homes come on the market, they are going under contract within 24 to 48 hours. So you want that pre-approval ready so you can send it in with your offer immediately, right? You're gonna be behind. You're gonna be at the bottom of the list if you're one of 5 offers submitted and you're the only one that doesn't have your pre-approval. So definitely get pre-approved. And that's it. Those are the first 3 steps in the home buying process that you need to know to buy your first home. If you found this video helpful, here's another video. I didn't film this. This is someone else, but I think it's super helpful to someone who wants to understand what closing costs are. What does that money actually go toward? She goes over it all in this really informative video. And don't forget, make sure you subscribe to my channel, like this video, and comment below if you have any questions. You definitely want to make sure you hit that little bell so you're notified when next week I release the second set of this series where I go over the next 3 steps for the home buying process. And again, if you don't want to wait, you need to know right now, that's okay. You can click down below to download my home buyer guide for free. So, thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. See you next week.